Welcome back to the Art of Crochet blog, and this is square number 7. Now I've got my lovely pile of what we've done so far, and you can see they're all slightly different widths and sizes. Now I'm not too worried about that because I think when we get they get stretched out, and when we put the borders around them, it's all going to come out in the wash, as they say. So I'm going to put those to one side under my trusty books to keep them flat, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do this week. We've got some lovely navy yarn, and I hope that you've been saving all the bits of your other colours because you're going to need them. So this week we're using some more of the lovely lime green and the nice bright pink too. So there they are. Good colours, aren't they? Good colour combo for this stripy square. So what we have to do, according to the magazine, is we start off with a chain of 21, and I'm one step ahead of you, as ever. And the first row that we're going to do is a row of trebles. Then we're going to use the lime green to do a row of half trebles, and then we're going to use the pink to do a row of doubles. That way the rows will get start off quite wide and they'll get thinner. So bit of design there. So we've got to keep our wits about us. So for the first row I've got 21 chains, and I'm going to do a treble. That means I need a 3 standing chain. So I'm going to make the first stitch into the 4th chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over because it's a treble, and then into that 4th stitch. Okay, so we've got to the end of our first row of trebles in the navy yarn. And now we're going to change into some green. So you get right to the end of this row, and I haven't worked the last stitch. So the idea is, when you're changing a colour, you make the first part of the last stitch. So I'm through 2. Now I've still got 2 bits on the hook there. So I'm going to bring in my green yarn and leave a little end to sew in later, and just hook that through and pull it through that last stitch, and you can pull that bit firmly there so it's all in. So do you see I've got 3 yarns coming out, the navy, the short bit of green, and then the long bit. So obviously the long bit's the one that we're going to use next. Now I'm going to turn and make 2 chains, because the next row is half trebles. Told you this one was going to be tricky. So again we do yarn over into the stitch at the base and pull through, and then through all 3 loops, yarn over into the next stitch, and then through all 3 loops. So let's get to the end of the row. Now I have noticed that in the magazine the same image is printed twice. So steps 3 and 4 look oddly familiar and similar to each other. So I'm going to show you what to do when you get to that bit. So here I am near the end of the second row in half trebles in the lime green, and I'm going to work that last stitch. So just like we did in the row below, I'm going to do that part of the stitch. This is the picture that's missing on the in the magazine. So I'm going to get the end of my pink yarn, and I've just left a little length at the bottom, and then that will be the one that gets pulled through those last 3 loops. And again I'm going to turn it round and make 2 chains. 1, 2, there, it's all looking a bit loose, so I'm going to pull it all together there. And then oh, I don't need yarn over because we're going to do doubles. Concentrate. There we are. Now, so now we've got a row of doubles which will be even thinner than the row above. Looks really good. And don't cut off the yarn that you're not using, because when you get to the end of the row you can just pick up where you left off, and you do get little runners that run along the side of the work, but I think that's okay. So here I am at the end of the third row, and I'm going to do that last stitch. Now I've got 2 loops there. Now I need to do a navy row next, so I'm going to find the navy yarn, there it is, and pull it along there, not too tight, but just let it lie alongside the work, and then pull that through there. See, and it just sits along, it's called a floater, just floats along at the side there. And then we're going to do another treble row. Now you've done this before. 2, 3, yarn over into that one there. There we are. And off we go again. So now you just repeat that and keep going, picking up the next time you're going to pick up this green yarn that's at the other end, and likewise with the pink when you get to the end of there, until you get to the end of your square. Okay, so I finished my square, here it is, and I've sewn in all my ends. The thing with colours is that there's going to be a lot of sewing in, but the thing to do also is to sew in along the same colour row, obviously, otherwise if you sewed the pink one under the green you'd see it and it would spoil the look. And there are these little floaters at the end, but they're all going to get absorbed into the edging when we do that, so that's no worries. So now I can write my number 7. It's number 7, and there it is, another square done.